first, I have nothing against Mehdi Hasan. And in fact, I rather like him. I loved his interchange with Mark Regov of Israel, which got him fired from MSNBC. At least I believe it did. And the short version is, this is the problem that he's facing. First of all, for Zeteo to win, it has to have a large core audience. Now, he's already lost the Republican audience, which is about 26% of Americans, right? So he's lost them. He's very anti-Trump. His videos are labeled like, this is what's going to happen if Trump gets, in power. Now, if he tells the truth, which the Democrats are responsible, especially Joe Biden, for the genocide in Gaza, then he loses another 30%. Those people who identify as Democrats, because they don't want to hear it. They don't want to hear that they're culpable, for what's happening there, which I definitely believe. Anyway, so that leaves 42% of independents, of which 40% are probably will go either Democrat or Republican in the election, because only 1.8% in the last election voted for a third party. So really, if Mehdi Hasan is really truthful about what he sees and thinks, he's only going to reach, at best, 2% of the population. So I just don't see that that's... I don't know how much how big he wants to get Zeteo, but I get the feeling from his talking, he thinks it's just going to be like a better version of MSNBC. But that's not possible, for the reasons that I went through. Anyway, we'll go through some of his clips, and yeah, I'm with it.
Oh, are you fed up with the nonsense that we hear non-stop from the right? Are you fed up with the right always getting the upper hand in media and political debates? Well, then this segment is for you. Zeteo is doing a new segment twice a month where we'll be talking to a very special guest.
So I just want to show you, again, in that clip, he says, the right. So he's right away, he is saying, are you fed up with the right? He's basically saying almost half the audience, like, statistically speaking, if you're watching this stuff, like half of you, yeah, if you're fed up with the other half, we're going to help you. So right there, he's throwing out half the potential audience.
Do you remember that line that I'm sure he's had thrown at you, which is, everyone gets more right-wing with age?
I think I've gone the opposite way.
You've got more left-wing.
I think for a while...
I feel like that sometimes too,
Yeah.
although many people would probably say, no, he's a sellout. But
So Mehdi Hasan has written this book, like How to Win Arguments, and he went to Oxford. I mean, I just wanted to prepare you for my shock that he's made such a weak argument, because people, sure, they might get more right-wing with age, but generally we say they get more conservative with age. Not right-wing, conservative. And that's what Owen Jones was saying. Because Owen Jones used to be in the Labour Party, and he left because he was getting a little bit more conservative, not because he was getting more to the right. And it's a big distinction. And this is why again, another reason why I think Mehdi is just not going to get there, because he's thinking sloppily. Though again, I'm only part of the 2% of the audience, of the truly independent audience, that's going to see this. But to me, again, it's a flaw in his thinking that I think is going to give him a lot of trouble down the road. I know it seems like a little bit, but no, we don't get more to the right as we age. We get more conservative, and you can be more conservative either as a liberal, or as a Democrat, or as a Republican. It's not about parties.
It's because actually we're moderates in a world of extremism. I think that's what being on the left is,
the world of extremism being right-wing extremism.
Yeah.
Owen is so far ahead of him, and Mehdi is not listening to him. Owen is right, which is, by the way, why I watch Owen Jones, and I really enjoy his channel, because he isn't really into the political stuff. He really tries to just keep it neutral. Like I say, like the theme of his channel the past 6 years is like, look with your own eyes at what is happening and who's behind it. Not like what party is doing this or that. Just like, look, look what's happening and see what they're saying. Anyway, but I just wanted to show you. So in that clip, Mehdi says, far right wing, and Owen's like, no. I'm just saying, extremism, like the moderates from extremism, not right wingers. So I just want to show you, it's not like a, what's I going to say? It wasn't a coincidence what Mehdi said before. In his head, he's thinking about the right wing, and that is going to, that's going to be problems for him later on.
I always have this debate in the US when people talk about Bernie Sanders and they're like, Donald Trump is on the far right and Bernie Sanders is on the far left. I'm like, the far left in America wants free healthcare. The far right wants Nazis in power.
I think he's wrong to call the far right Nazis. I mean, the Nazis were a very specific political party force of these Germans, Hitler and his group that basically wanted to use Jews as a scapegoat, funneled all this anger in Germany from the Versailles Treaty and World War I and all the money, whatever, just being poor. I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on. And the far right in America has some similarities to the Nazis in that, yes, there's some sort of racial thing to it, but many of these far right groups in America, they have blacks and Hispanics and other minorities. It's not, I don't really feel that the left media likes to portray them as a bunch of racists, but actually, if you look at videos of them, they don't really look that way completely. So I just don't feel it's a proper analogy. And I think, yes, the left hates the right, thinks that they have sort of like Nazi-like attributes, but they wouldn't call them Nazis. I think many of them go that far. So I think that Mehdi's, because he's not really American, he's English or Indian, whatever, he doesn't really catch these nuances, and I feel they're going to get him in trouble. Not with the right, because the right that isn't his audience, but by the Democrats or in his audience. They're like, yeah, I mean, I don't like the far right, but I wouldn't really call them like exactly Nazis. Because again, if Mehdi's going to bring nuance, right, to a show, if he's going to bring real news, this is another slip up that I feel that he's making that just will not work out.
We need to suspend arms sales.
I think giving a little bit too much credit here.
I mean, where I'm coming from America, where Joe Biden won't budge an inch.
No, but he's done hand-wringing, and that's what we're talking about here.
No,
Biden's done this whole
He's done very little. He could do way more, even rhetorically.
So in that clip, they were talking about President Joe Biden, and could you see, and Owen was winding him up just a teeny bit. And Owen was saying, oh, well, he's doing some hand-wringing. Did you see the way that Mehdi squirmed in his chair? Because he was really upset. Because really what he wanted to say, and again, which I think all of us see, is that Biden basically, I hate to say this, but yeah, he is Genocide Joe. I'm sorry. I mean, again, I think that's sort of a cheap word, genocide, but it is what it is. And but Mehdi can't say that because the Democrats have so used Trump, hit the fear of Trump to get themselves elected, that so many Democrats are like, yeah, we have to worry about Trump, we have to worry about Trump. And they can't look at their own party, that their own party is actually committing genocide, which I think they are. And Owen Jones definitely knows it, though again he doesn't focus on that in his videos. Right? He doesn't go on about the Democrats and Joe Biden. He just basically says, "This is what we see. This is what the governments are saying, and they don't match up. Why? How can they not match up? Right? We have evidence after evidence after evidence that this is happening. The governments are saying it's not, it's not, it's not. Like, at what point do you recognize that they are just congenital liars? Right? But Mehdi, he's not going that direction. Right? He's still on the I hate Trump, and he still won't confront. He won't say the truth that, no, the Democrats are committing a genocide. And that's why he's squirming in the chair. Owen's winding him up. Owen's like, yeah, what they're saying, they're wringing their hands about it. And he's like squirming his chair because he really wants to say, that's not enough. They are sending bombs to Israel to bomb Gaza. I mean, you could just tell that's what he wants to say. He knows that more than anyone. But if he starts a channel where he doesn't pander to his audience that wants to believe it's somebody else's fault, like it's Trump's fault, or in this case, that it's Israel's fault, it's all Netanyahu's fault. Like, Mehdi can't come out and say, you know what, yeah, Netanyahu's really bad, but, there are bombs. It's our government. It's Biden. He sent them over, right? So, or Trump sent them over, whatever. It's our government sent them over. So it's our bombs. We're killing them. He just can't do that. Because if he does that, he loses all his audience. He becomes a channel like mine of like 100 whatever subscribers. If I could have, like, if people had a button which said unsubscribe, like, I don't want to subscribe, but I want to unsubscribe, like a down button for subscriptions, I'd have 100,000 unsubscribers because, you know, as you can see on my opinion, I don't care about Republicans or Democrats. They're all the same to me. Behind the scenes, both parties completely the same. AIPAC has got them both in its back pocket for a long time. Now, I think that's going to change in a very big way. Like if I was Mehdi, I would just stick, you know, do like Owen Jones, just really stick to what you see. Stick to the truth and hope that your audience finds you later on. But if you go this route where you're just pandering, because the things I mentioned before, you don't quite get the feel of how Americans feel, and you're gonna get found out. You know, people will eventually, just like I'm doing here, say, "Hey, you're a sellout. You're a sellout. You know what's happening in Gaza. You know who's responsible for it in the United States, and you're not calling them out. You're not calling out Joe Biden, Mehdi. You should be, and you're not. Okay, if you to call out Mark Regov of Israel, right? Because that's okay. Right? Democrats in America are fine to not particularly, you know, care about Israel one way or another. But no, you won't do it to Joe Biden. So anyway. All right. Hope you got something out of this video. And remember to hit that unsubscribe button.